to my Good Life meditation for today, um, January 19th, 2024. It really feels like this is the first time to do it since coming to Japan, back out here in the open. I was doing it in the Family Mart yesterday, and I did kind of something like it a couple days before that, but it didn't feel quite the same. It feels more real to be out and about. I've got my can of coffee. Let me go ahead and open it and not fall over this brick. Welcome to the Good Life meditation for today. This is an exercise that I do every day, a little bit after waking up, to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours, how I did with the challenges and the opportunities that I met. I plan for the coming day. I recite and think about the 8 objectives of my creed, which are my North Star, and then I prepare myself to die. Let's start. I usually say last night and yesterday, but it might be more appropriate just to say yesterday because last night isn't an issue anymore. So much of the last 2 years have been marked by the difficulty of sleep. Waking up at 2:30 or 3 a.m. and tossing and turning until, my alarm goes off at 4. Not able to sleep for the stress and the worry of life. All the, painful worry that I experienced over work. The concern about, making everything work out in that very difficult venue of Southern California, which was such a hard place. Southern California, it's like I've described it before. It's like a mosh pit, like a punk rock mosh pit of opportunity. And for those that can, keep stay on their feet, there's great rewards to be had, great financial rewards, especially, in a place like Los Angeles. But boy, it comes at a price. It's like the mosh pit really is what it is. So living that life for more than a decade, striving really hard with all those responsibilities on my shoulders, took a great toll on my sleep. And for years I couldn't sleep, and I blamed it on other things, sleep apnea, which I'm not saying that it wasn't the case, but I don't have that problem anymore. I don't think so. And the only thing that changed was I stopped working, and I left that awful venue of Southern California. Awful for the consequences, not awful for the rewards. It was a very good experience and a good place to be for one that has to see his or her life responsibilities to conclusion, mainly finishing raising a kid and providing for the long-term security of their family. But now that that's done, I sleep like a baby. So that was it all along. Yesterday was a really good day. It was the first day that the full day felt like I was really standing on my 2 feet as a retired man. Up until now, and let's count them, it's been 5 weeks. I felt like a spaceman newly landed on an exotic planet, stumbling out of my spacecraft. Where the heck am I? All sensors indicate I'm on planet X. This looks like planet X according to the readout. The atmosphere seems right. The gravity appears correct. I'm in my spacesuit for safety, but this is an alien, unknown place. How am I supposed to make a life here? Hello again, Kurt. Good morning. Hello, Jonah. That's what the last 5 weeks have been like. Now, my wife, being 6 months ahead of me, she's got her footing. She told me yesterday, she said, because I asked her, how's it feel to be back? And she said, it feels like being home. And she behaves that way too. Yumiko's always been one to apprehend issues and then engage a change of life or engage behaviors that are in accord with that. Both she and her sister are that way. Mm. For me, it takes a little longer. Yesterday was the first day I felt like I was there. The full day, from morning till I went to bed, I felt like I was in my footing, just like I used to feel like I was in my footing at work. It doesn't mean that it was a great day necessarily. It just meant that I felt like I was standing on my own 2 feet. It's like I didn't enjoy most of the time going to work or doing my job when I was employed. Um, at least I felt like I was in my element. After I got over the first couple of years of imposter syndrome, going back to America after that, I realized that I can do this. I know what I'm doing, and I just have to do the hard work. I felt like I was on my own 2 feet. Yesterday was the first day that I felt like I was on my own 2 feet here. Up until then, I felt that way only now in these early pre-dawn hours, wandering around, stumbling around the landscape here before everybody got up. And then sometime around after 10 a.m., I began to get lost. And yesterday surprised me and I know why, because I saw it coming. It was 2 days ago, I think, that I first saw that, oh, Kurt, you've got a problem with the afternoons. You've got your mornings figured out, but your afternoons are a challenge because you're lost and wandering. And I haven't even come up with a plan yet, but just identifying that fact alone seems to have done something to help resolve the issue. Here comes a train. Freight train. So, I'm calling this then, hi Dell, good morning. So therefore, I'm calling this day 2 of standing on my feet in Japan. So, I wouldn't remember the goal of this part of the Good Life morning exercise is to think about what challenged me yesterday and how I did with those challenges. So I have to expand the scope a little bit. It wasn't what challenged me yesterday. It was what challenged me about 2 or 3 days ago when I started to realize that I was losing my footing mid-morning and then stumbling through the afternoons. And something about the recognition of that is put it straight. And if I haven't figured it out yet, at least it's not. It's like the devil that you know. I know what you are now. You're the afternoon. Now, part of the reason that I'm not implementing a plan, normally, I may have missed this, but how is the transition from quiet desert to busy life? Get to that in just a second, Jonah. I haven't yet tackled the afternoons because I'm not in a place to do so. In about 10 days, Yumiko and I will get the keys to our new house. And then everything's going to change, right? Because we will begin the process of cleaning it up and doing the reform, and we're going to try to buy the land next door. You guys have heard the story. And that's going to change everything. The whole thing is going to change. So it doesn't make sense for me to try to structure an afternoon or even a full day routine at this point when it's all going to be up in the air. But at least I know what it is. I know what it is. So I'm in that fact alone of identifying the problem and being willing and able to address it, even if I don't. Did the trick. It's like spotting the tiger in the brush. I see you there. I know what you are. So as to Jonah's question about transitioning from the quiet desert life to the city life, it's been a very easy transition. The reason that that's the case, Jonah, is that I spent my life. I mean, I completely fulfilled anything that I wanted to ever do out in the deep desert and alone has been done. It's like riding motorcycles. I sold my motorcycle last year, And I mentioned several times that I will never again ride a motorcycle. Um, and that's because I've ridden all the motorcycle, I've done all the motorcycle riding I'll ever want to do in my life. And likewise, I've done all the deep desert solitude I'll ever want to do in my life. I don't, that I've wrung that sponge dry. Now, that might help to explain a little bit why it's been 5 weeks in and I haven't gone into the mountains by myself, even though Yumiko keeps telling me, you should go to the mountains, go for a hike. Yeah, it's, I know I will, but it's going to be for different reasons. You know, when I was here before, softypapa 1.0, I was going to the mountains as a prelude to going into the desert. I was there just seeking after something, escaping from the pain of my day-to-day and seeking after some sort of a solace and peace. I found that solace and peace. And now that I'm retired, if I couldn't necessarily call it escaped, but I'm liberated of the pain, of the day-to-day pain of the workaday life. So with that, this here all seems kind of nice, you know, hanging out with my wife, you know, she makes nice meals, you know, I like my dogs, you know, it's comfortable at home. I'm old, I like to take naps. You know, the mountains seem a little bit dangerous and foreboding. Doesn't mean I won't go there. I will, trust me. I'll go there, but I'll go there for a very different motivation than ever before. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I know I won't be taking the risks that I took before because I have too much to lose. It's like, you know, I feel like I won the lottery now. And like if you win the lottery and you buy a yacht, right? I mean, how, you know, a little more reluctant to jump off the boat and swim with the sharks, you know, because I got the boat. I got this life now, you know. I wouldn't want to go out into the deep mountains and get, you know, gored by a boar and not be able to come home to all of this anymore. So I hope that answers your question. So that was, as to the last 24 hours, no particular challenges that I can speak of. Well, there was one. My mom's really been nasty. So you know, if you guys have watched these, you know, one of the things that's important to me to do every day is to prepare for death. And that part of that is making sure that my relationships are sound. And they're really the only person in my life that I have any relationship issues anymore is my mom. And it's just because she doesn't like me, seemingly. And what I've done is, she and I have always kind of had this distance. You know, mostly, you know, I'm protecting myself. It's not fair to me. I shouldn't talk like this about her. She can't defend herself. I'm sure she would say the same thing of me. But she's very hurtful, and I feel like it's my duty to make sure that I'm there for her because she's very old, because she's going to need me. Yet at the same time, I have to protect myself and my family from her. And before coming back to America, I made it very clear to her that before I came back to Japan from America, I made it very clear to her how to reach me via email and that I'm here for her if she needs me. And I'll come back to America and I'll take care of her if I need to. And boy, she's taken advantage of that to just pound me. So yesterday was a hard day because I make sure to read everything she sends. Because, you know, I'm looking for that clue that, you know, my mom needs me. So amidst all the horrible stuff, you know, which is just the usual stuff, you know, where are the clues? So I read it and I file it, and I read it and I file it. And it takes a toll. So yeah, that was hard yesterday. And I don't know any other way to deal with that other than to try to disassociate myself from it, but it's hard when it's your mom, right? I mean, when your own mom is after you, that's hard. But it's been that way since I was 15, so. And it's like that for my brother, too. So we commiserate in that capacity. But enough about that. This is working out pretty good. I came here to the park because someone left a very good comment that The other day, doing this at the Lawson station, I had inadvertently filmed the gentleman behind me drinking down two tall 197s. And I'm deliberately, if you guys haven't picked up on my videos, I'm deliberately going out of my way to not film people here. I've been very careful about that, but that one slipped through, and I know why. Because I was at the Lawson station, and I filmed in this horizontal mode when I should have filmed it in the vertical mode to control the frame, and I got him. And I'll tell you, it was a little bit deliberate on my part because before I started the camera, he had actively engaged me and had a long conversation with me. He's an interesting guy. I kind of think I made a mention a little bit about it. So seems to be very interested in. He's there every morning, and I'm there usually at that place every morning. Although maybe I'll stop going there for that very reason of not wanting to film him or anybody else. But he's an interesting guy. Very cautionary tale in his life. Wow. I think that's enough of yesterday. The creed, my good life creed, which is outlined in my book, Going Alone. Oh, here comes a single locomotive, I think. No, freight train. I'm in a park, by the way, behind a shrine. So there's an apartment building back there. There's no chance that even my voice can carry and bother anybody. The railroad. This building back here is actually part of a Shinto shrine. So I'm pretty good. This is a good place to do this. And as the weeks progress, the sunlight will come up sooner, and it might even be light. I think I can pull this back. So anyway, for those of you that might be new, I mean, there's a lot of you, like 500 or 600 new subscribers since I came back to Japan. Welcome, everybody. I do the Japan stuff, but I also do, stuff related to my personal philosophy, which is called the Good Life, the Good Life Creed. It's related in my book, Going Alone. And this video is all about that. I talk about my last 24 hours, and I prepare for the today, and I ready myself for death. And I have 8 objectives within my creed that I'm striving for, and 35 attendant principles that help me get there. The 8 objectives, and I recite them every morning when I do this, are as follows. I'll enumerate and explain them. 1, to be always ready to die. All that means is that I need to have my affairs in order, my relationships sound, and my life's work complete. I'll talk about that a little more as I close this video out. Number 2, to make good and effective use of my time, to make sure that I'm not wasting my days. For me, wasting my days means engaging behaviors that kill time, because death is soon. And I've got a lot of stuff I want to do in the meantime. So there's no time for reruns unless it's a really good episode of Seinfeld. And there's no time for just lollygagging and dilly-dallying around. I mean, I've got hard work to do every day, and I may be retired, but that doesn't mean I'm finished with life. Number 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles and objectives. This means I have to tune and manage the Good Life Creed, my personal roadmap. And I work on it every day by thinking about it and by doing this exercise and tuning. Now, I don't change it much anymore. I developed the creed in 2018. I've been working on it for, 7 years? And it's pretty much there. I mean, I don't really make any changes anymore. It works. And it really works well. Number 4 is to cultivate good emotional reactions, to develop myself into the type of man that reacts well when the challenges come, so that I don't fly off the handle, that I don't lose my cool as much as I possibly can, and that I remain, keep a rather stoic perspective in the face of challenge. Good emotional reactions. That's a tough one, but I really am getting better. Every year it gets better and better. Number 5 is to perform good actions. Now, you might wonder, what constitutes good, right? How do you define good? Well, good is a little deeper. Good simply means doing things and promoting activities and decisions that help to improve the well-being of thinking creatures. Basically, it means to reduce suffering. Now, I know there's a lot that can get caught up in that, and there's twists and turns that can be had in a philosophical sense when you pursue, you know, well-being as reducing pain. I know it's complex, but it's also pretty straightforward and simple, right? Looking to make decisions that are on the whole raise the level of as many ships as possible. I call that virtue. So I'm trying to further the cause of virtue in the world. Number 6 is to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities. So I'm operating within the scope of my control. Like I said before about my mom, I can't control what my mom thinks or does. So I use this objective of recognizing what is not within my control, which is my mom, to not get upset when she sends me those hurtful missives, but also to recognize that what is within my control is to read carefully between the lines and to try to know and spot where and when she eventually needs me to step in and help as her son, which is my duty. Next, and I think I have just 2 more, is to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully to become someone who lives life in a measured, careful manner. And then last, number 8, is the objective of balance, which is a very broad objective. It's the last one I added, and it basically means to not lose my footing both physically and mentally, but more importantly, mentally, to try to approach challenging situations in such a way that I can tiptoe through it without stumbling. I do that almost every day, especially when I'm in a social situation here where there's things that I don't understand and things that I don't necessarily like sometimes. And I have to keep my balance in spite of that. Here comes another train. Is this a freight train or is this that's another freight train? So that's it for my objectives. The last thing I do every day is to ask myself if I'm ready for death. And there are 3 criteria. 1, are my affairs in order? For the most part, they are. You guys know, if you've watched these videos, that there's the one thing I need to do. I need to set up a few apps on my wife's phone for the financial apps so that she can access things. My fear is, because all the finances are set up, but my fear is that if I die, that my wife will have difficulty, accessing our funds in the United States to keep herself going. She will be able to do it because she has a document that has, and Emily has a copy of it, that has all of the password information and passwords for all of our finances. And I've made sure that she's, on all of those accounts. So the money's all there and she can access it, but it'll be hard for her to do. Instead, what I want to do is get her set up on her phone so that she can do it easily on her phone, because she has to bring it across, right? I mean, it's one thing if the money's sitting in a bank in the United States, she has to convert it into yen, use a remittance service to bring it across and drop it in our bank here. She relies on me to do that right now. She could figure out, if I die right now, she and Emily would figure it out. They have enough information, but I don't want her to have to struggle to figure it out. So it's really the last thing I need to do. And I know I've been saying it for days. It's just that we were so busy. I just need to sit down with her, set it all up on her phone. I've trained her how to do it because I sit her down with me after breakfast, or once in a while, and I'll show her how to do it on my phone. But I need to get all set up on her phone. It's the last thing. So no, I'm not ready. My affairs are not in order completely until that happens. Doesn't mean I'm not in a condition where I can't die on that one. I could die on that one. She'll be okay, but it'd be easier for her. The second thing is, otherwise, all the affairs are in order. The second thing is to make sure that my life's work is complete, and it is. My daughter is raised. My life's work was 2 things: raising my daughter, and fulfilling my life's purpose. And my decided life's purpose was the exploration and discovery and recording and codification of everything that's in my book, Going Alone. And so I've completed both of those goals. My daughter is raised. She's off living on her own now, taking care of herself just fine. And number two, the book is written, completely edited, all done, not a word ever needs to change. So my affairs are pretty mostly in order. My life's work is done. Are my relationships sound? Well, I already talked about my mom. So I've done as much as I can do on that. Everyone else is fine. It's interesting though. I'm getting a lot of people that want to spend time with me. This is going to sound strange, saying that they're going to come by Shizuoka or do something like that. And I'm struggling a little bit with that because, it's funny, I saw a video the other day on YouTube and it said, it said no friends after 60. And I said, well, that sounds interesting. So I watched the video and it was a guy my age who was basically saying he's reached the sixth decade and he was making the case for not having friends, which I was like, that's a really novel thing. And I had to kind of raise my hand and go, that's kind of me. I really, my wife's enough. I really, really don't, I want, I don't, it sounds so antisocial, but I'm without words because I feel like I'm trespassing on territory that I shouldn't say. But it's just like, I don't feel like I need that. You know, I get all the socialization that I need with the time that I spend with my wife. The rest of the time, alone with my mind, alone with myself and my thoughts and my experiences and the feelings that come, like right now, being here, this is just absolutely delicious. And walking these streets alone, spending so much time by myself, and then coming home and spending breakfast with my wife or going out together like we will today to the shrine to go shop for antiques. It's just the right amount of time. Adding anybody else to it, it's just too much. So that guy making that video was like, oh, I can relate. So I guess I would say that my relationships complete are very much so insofar as I have all that I need, and I don't really want anybody else. Feels good to say it out loud. Like, yeah, I guess I'm ready for death. Yeah, even with the one financial thing I need to do. They'll figure it out. Should probably drop that one off the list. Do it. I'll fix it. But still not call that a criteria. I guess that's it. I finished my second Good Life meditation since coming back to Japan. Full and proper one. And I like the way I did it out here. Here, this is a good location. No one around. Not filming anybody. Trains coming by. Marking time. So with that, I'll stop. And I wish you all the best. Remember, be safe, but not too safe. Take care.